When I say everybody is sick of wokeness, I mean everybody. It has literally crawled its way into modern entertainment and dug this little hole and just sitting there. And when we try to pull it out, it's always just gripping onto something else and just continues to remain. And everybody is sick of this nonsense. Even people who were somewhat tolerant of it in the beginning are now just absolutely and utterly enraged. You can't have good movies, you can't have good TV series, you can't have good video games, you can't have good comics, hell, you cannot even have good books because that and all they have a problem with. It is absolutely unbelievable how badly this has gotten. But you see, whenever you give lunatics an inch, they will go and take a mile. And this is what has led to where we are right now. Well, the original Ghost Initial director is out there blasting political correctness, aka wokeness, because it is just destroying everything and he has had enough of it. Dive into this article here from Bounding into Comics. Original Ghost Initial director blasts rise of political correctness in games and anime. You can't even talk about someone being beautiful or not without being accused of discrimination. That's the truth. That is the truth. You look at what happens now, they go out of their way to try and make characters, especially female characters, as unattractive as possible. And then tell you that, if you don't like this, you're a bigot. You're supposed to like this because we say so. Because we have such miserable self-esteem that this is what we tell you you're supposed to like. Yeah, good for all you. In the opinion of Ghost in the Shell anime film director Mamoru Oshii, while the concept of political correctness may have been born from a place of genuinely good intent, its overemphasis on in recent years has had a profoundly detrimental effect on not just entertainment media but society at large. See, this is what I said about people who were tolerant of it in the beginning. This was the problem. This is the problem. You see, you say, yeah, it was born from a place of genuinely good intent. Born from a genuine good intent, but it was not, that was never what it was. Like, people will say, oh, well, we want to have this for this community or that for that community, or we want to have more of this or all of that. And I am like, no, we're people that's what it is. When entertainment was just made for everybody, that's what made it entertaining. The minute you started to cater to people who just enjoy this nonsense, this is what you keep getting. Because I talked about this before. You see this whole thing about how so we could see ourselves, that fundamentally destroyed entertainment because all of a sudden you were catering to a bunch of narcissistic sycophants who cannot function without their egos being stroked. That's what destroyed it. An industry legend whose lengthy list of credits also includes such works as Ghost in the Shell, Innocence, Angel Eggs, and the original Urusei Yatsura anime adaptation, Oshii offered his thoughts on the hot button issue in the most recent entry of his monthly Q&A opinion column, That Thing from That Movie, What Was It Again? As commissioned and hosted by the Japanese entertainment news outlet PIA. Yeah. Yeah, Major Kusaragi, yeah, okay. Amidst a larger discussion on the future of disinformation, Oshii eventually turned to share his thoughts on the fact as presented by the outlet that there will be an increase in such things now that Donald Trump, who is a leading proponent of fake news, has become president. Per an excerpt of his column, right? So they go on to say, like what it is, talk about it is that their false claims so widely accepted by this base was due to their willingness to believe in their hero. We said the reason why Trump who was so poorly regarded is being treated like a hero by some is not because of his national policies, said Oshii. It's because he overturned political correctness. That's why he's a hero. Yeah, yeah. This is the fact I talk about. You see, don't now I do not live in America, so I don't subscribe to the whole left wing, right wing thing and all of that. But I'm going to use an example here. The left went so far left with it, so far that people were like, all you have to be mad. All you literally have to be freaking mad. Now, we all knew that they were mad. But they insisted on pushing this so badly that that's what happened. So when people saw someone, and you're not thinking that Donald Trump is some kind of big hero or anything like that, but someone who was actually coming there and saying, I am going to bring back some rational sense to all of this. People were like, okay, all right, this is somebody doing something. And this is what them talking about how he's some kind of hero. Because of that, you all went so freaking far left that even those who are literally along for the ride quickly realized now you're kind of mad and then decided to just go back. That's what went on there. His thoughts now turned to this specific topic. The director proceeded to assert political correctness started with the aim of giving legitimacy to socially vulnerable groups, and that's not wrong. This is the same thing with how wokeness began. Like I said, the term woke started with the black community. It was about people waking up to realize, they were being discriminated against when it came to certain things in society. And you needed to wake up, take charge, and change that. Hence the saying, stay woke. But it was quickly hijacked by lunatics who turned it into something much, much worse. In a mature society, that's a natural responsibility, added the Ghost initial lead. However, the problem arose when, starting from that point, they ended up elevating the socially vulnerable to a position of power. Yes, yes. They get priority admissions to schools and preferential treatment in employment. Before making Oshii continued before making a surprise reference to the specific operations of narrative consultation companies like Sweet Baby Inc. What's more, there are companies that charge outrageous consulting fees to guide them through the process. Game companies, for example, are being asked to pay millions of dollars by these companies. When they talk about how they get everything, because it started to turn around, and you see this is especially when it comes to the LGBT. I mean, okay, you know what? The alphabet people, all of them. They don't want acceptance. You must worship them for the fact of, who they choose to jump into bed with. And I'm like, hell no. That is not of any interest to me. I said it before, I say again. You want to have a whole month for pride. So this weirdo who were going to jiggle and gyrate in the road. But veterans who fought and died for the country that you all have the honor of living in, they must get a day, and you must be able to bad talk them all you want. Then he goes on to talk about how, they get preferential treatment to schools or kind of that. If somebody has the academic qualification, personally, I believe schooling should be free for everybody. Everybody should get that chance to learn. You understand me? When it comes to employment now, like I say, a lot of these things you see it, people are being hired based on their gender, race, sexual orientation, all of that, not because they actually know what the hell they're doing. And this is why a lot of these things are just falling away. Because you're hiring people to fill quotas. You're not hiring people who actually know what they're doing. And when you talk about Sweet Baby Inc., why? Like I said this before, I say again, Sweet Baby Inc. operates like the freaking mafia. They go there and they're like, nice business you have there. Sure wouldn't be a shame if it accidentally burnt down. You should probably give us money to make sure that doesn't happen. Because that's what they do. They're charging companies millions of dollars so they can go in there, ruin the damn game, and tell everybody, you know what? If you don't hire us, we will have people attack you online till you have no choice but to do it. Like the freaking mafia. That's what they are. Bringing his attentions back to his more specific experience, the mobile police Paklabor director then explained, because it directly relates to my work, I have a strong aversion to bringing political correctness into the world of games and anime. Very true, don't do it. After all, everyone who plays games wants beautiful or cute creatures. Yes, they do. I'm no different. So why do we have to include unattractive ones? Why? Because weirdos say that you should, because they just need to let's keep ruining everything. That's all. Entertainment is fundamentally built on aspiration. If you deny that sense of aspiration, you strip away the very foundation of what makes entertainment meaningful. These days, you can't even talk about someone being beautiful or not without being accused of discrimination. And that is ridiculous. If something or someone is beautiful, you should say it. That is a compliment. That is what makes things good. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. But you all catered so far to these weirdos that enough people now are afraid to actually live like decent people because they don't want to be labeled by some nonsense. Ay, ay, ay. Western games have really become terribly then declared, all because of political correctness. You see somebody god awful, ugly, I don't even know what to call it, and they put it in these games. A set of nonsensical crap, and yet they wonder why Marvel Rivals continues to beat the crap out of every other game out there, because you know why? Marvel Rivals have good gameplay and attractive men and women in the game. That's what people want. Hell, just look at those hips on Emma Frost and tell me that is something. Come on now, man. But you all keep doing this crap to yourself. Look, cute character here. Closing out his thoughts on the matter, Oshii turned to give his opinion on Disney's failed live-action Snow White. Telling the outlet, fairy tales are valuable precisely because they can be reinterpreted over and over again. True, that's the nature of the classics. I've reused Little Red Riding Hood many times myself, saying that only the original version is valid and rejecting all others. That's a problem in its own way. But when those reinterpretations are used as a platform for political messaging, that's a whole different matter. Now, as he talked about this, as he said, they can be reinterpreted over and over again. Yes, you could take a fairy tale and use parts of it or change it to something else, but somehow keep the essence of what it is. Now, when you look at Snow White is Snow White. That's the story. But you could change other things to make a different story and use Snow White as a basis for that story. It's the same thing like with the Little Mermaid. Understand me? You could tell a story about it because Splash the movie did basically a Little Mermaid retelling of it, but you know it was basically Little Mermaid, but it was done more for a different type of catalog. You can do it. But when you go in there and say, listen, we are going to make Snow White and have the lead actress not look anything like Snow White, have her shoot her mouth off completely and go around telling everybody we're making this for a modern audience. You're going to destroy yourselves because you're imbeciles. That's why. Notably, this is not the first time the director has shared his thoughts on political correctness with PN News. He talked about, he did this so earlier in the year with a 2025 column. Yeah. This is the same thing I talk about ruining things. Critiquing the twist of the theatrical 2019 CG animated film Dragon Quest Your Story, wherein it is revealed that the film is not an actual adaptation of Dragon Quest 5, but rather an isekai story centering around a real world protagonist. Oshii declared people play games because they want to escape reality. Read that again. People play games because they want to escape reality. It's called escapism. That's the whole point of games. Before making a brief detour to decry how it's the same with political correctness today. Why do we have to bring real world issues into the world of games? We don't, but like I said, morons will be morons. If the purpose is escapism, then of course you'll only see beautiful girls. That's completely natural. Honestly, I want to ask, why should I have to pay money just to be lectured? Thank you. Thank you. Like I keep saying, everybody's sick of it now. They want to lecture you and tell you, listen, you must listen to this because you didn't know this and we know, so we must tell you. I don't want that. I'm not paying money for that. Plain and simple. I'm not paying money to be lectured. So yeah, I give the man full credit for that's what he's saying. Like I started this video by saying everybody is sick of it now. It has gotten to the point where it's no longer even just disturbing. It's just absolutely stupid. That's all it is. And you all don't know when to stop because you don't want to stop. I once had a conversation with somebody and I asked the person, I said, all this thing that's happening in the comic book industry and all that stuff, I said to them, if it continues, the entire industry could be destroyed. Is that what you want? And the response that I got was, so what's wrong with that? That is the kind of people that are pushing this thing. They want it all to burn because they don't care about a damn thing other than spreading chaos. That's it. And everybody else who has two brain cells to rub together is sick and tired of this nonsense. And I can say, sir, I salute you for speaking out against it. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. If you have a different opinion, I'd love to hear it. If you like the video, hit that thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Ring the notification bell to be notified every time I upload a new video. And I shall see you all next time. Take care.